Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a set of full nails. I did them not long ago with tips and hard gel. I'll link that video down below. But this time we're doing them with full cover tips and builder gel. The difference between the regular tips that I use, which are like soft gel tips, and these are that these are plastic tips. But the process is the same. As usual, the prep is always important. So after I've pushed my cuticles back, I'm going to go in with a ball bit just to get rid of some extra dead skin. Now, because I need to finish these tips off before application, I'm not putting down any primer or base coat. I'm just going to finish the actual prep of the nail because I don't want any sticky all over the place. And if I was to put a coat of primer on and let it dry and get any grease or debris on it, it's not going to stick down anyway. So that would just be a waste of product. Just to finish that prep off, I'm going to go in with a medium sanding band at a low speed. I'm just going to kind of go around the cuticles again, and then I'm going to mat the surface of the nail. Just be gentle when you do this and just work in one direction. Now when all of this is done, I am just going to wipe all the dust off before I start with the tips. These are more of a press-on nail. They haven't got a lot of space in the middle. Where we're going to be encapsulating, I've gone one size up because it kind of bulks it a little bit on the inside. And even if I use the regular full cover tips with the apex, the minute I use builder gel, I do go one size up. Sidewall to sidewall with a little tiny margin. I've already etched the tip a little bit on the inside. I've taken my file and just kind of roughed them up. This is especially important when you're using these ABS plastic tips. I've also done a thin layer of base coat on the inside that I've cured. I kind of marked them off so I know what I'm doing. I've just put a few dots and lines. We're going to be hiding these afterwards. I'm using some really pretty colours from will's gel polish. I will link everything down below. I will be doing 2 thin coats of the colour and curing them in between. And if the nail should turn out a bit tight and you've got a little bit of bulk, you can take your refile and kind of shave it down a little bit. Just make sure you don't take off too much and then remove the dust afterwards. I'll be using glitter in these and I need something to tack them down with. So I'm putting down a thin layer of base coat again without curing it. All I'll be doing next is just filling the glitter in where I want it. Don't do it too thick, and when you're happy with it, you can give it a full cure. Same as always, thin coat of base coat. That will give us some adhesion. The leaves we're going to be encapsulating are horrible little things. They are stiff and flat and kind of poke up everywhere. I try to use builder, base coat, everything to stick them down, but they still poke out. I've discovered that the solution to this problem is to use foil gel. By applying a thin coat, just curing it for a few seconds, that allows me to place the leaves in and kind of stick them down. If you go straight into the foil gel without curing it, it's just going to mush everywhere and look nasty. So you need to set it just that little bit. By using one of these silicone tools and pressing them into the tip while they're curing, they do adhere well and they follow the curve of the nail. I'll link a video down below where I use the same technique to put some stickers in some full cover tips. I use Nails foil gel, but you'll probably just have to play around with the one that you've got to check out like the curing times. This is a nail that I wasn't very happy with. I was not intending to have it look like this. It just came out too heavy. I have put base coat on this and cured it, by the way. Same procedure with the glitter. A little bit of wet base coat and put the glitter in when you want it and cure it when you're done. I'm sorry I haven't filmed this better, but I've had to cut quite a bit of this part out. For some reason I kept sticking my big head in the frame. I'm going to put some leaves in this midsection. So again, I'm going to go in with the foil gel. Where this is a curvier nail than the thumb, I'm going to kind of do it in areas. So what that means is I'm going to put a little bit on, do a couple of these, full cure it, and then do another area. I would not recommend that you kind of pile them on top of each other. I did that, I noticed they did lift. When you cure it, tip it upside down so that the light hits the front of the nail. Here and there, I find it easier to use the tweezers just to hold them in place. But like I said, whatever you do, set the gel just a little tiny bit first. Because I've forgotten it looked really ugly. The reason I put down a thin cut base coat and cured it again is because I'm going to go in with some black. I just wanted to make sure that I had a nice even surface. Now, this is unfortunately, in my opinion, where it went a bit wrong. My idea of the black was to kind of emphasise the leaves in front of it, but it just completely drowned them out. Oh, and by the way, I want the builder gel to cure. I'm doing designs like this with the dark colours, opaque and highly pigmented. You do not put them where the natural nail is or the builder gel is going to be, because otherwise it won't cure through. So okay, now we need to get these nails on. I'm using a thin coat of acid-free primer. Always use a primer because you don't want your nails popping off. And because we are using a gel, I am putting down a base gel on my nails as well. I never suffer from lifting or popping off, and this is because I always do a proper prep and without exception used a primer and a base coat. So I'm going to apply to all 5 and give them a full cure. Now today I'm using a hard builder gel from Mia Secret. Now I've used it a bit lately and I must say I do like it a lot. The clue to using builder gel with full cover tips is to not push it down as hard. It's easier because you can kind of lay them on a little bit more. I haven't got a lot of space, so I'm not able to fill the nail, and it's not necessary either. So I'm just going to do a thin layer, make sure that I get it all the way up the sides, and just that I've got enough in the middle. I don't want it oozing out. Uncured gel on the skin can give you an allergy. Usually I use a finger lamp, but I've been creative, and with my phone bracket holder I've put one of those small portable lamps instead, which is a 6 watt and not 3 watt like the finger lamps are, and that worked really, really well. Despite the hard gel giving it a kind of a suction, I still like to kind of, what shall I say, not push it down, but just hold it in place. And if needed, you can adjust them a little bit or hold it down if you see any air bubbles. So all I do is just kind of gently slide it on the nail. This is a transparent gel and it's not burning or anything. Portable lamp is just to kind of flash cure them into place. I always make sure that I give them a full cure when I'm done. I've got a 48 watt lamp and I know that that's going to do the job. Now sticking on these ready-made nails, the full cover tips, they kind of go by the name lazygirl method or Femi Beauty method. Originally I think they were done with polygel, but people can attach them with acrylic and builder as well. It's just a matter of preference, and it is a really, really easy way to do nails. However, this is my personal preference. I love them on the proper tips, but to use these press-ons, as I like to call them, for me that is not a good option. They're too shallow. Where I'm going to reinforce these with builder gel underneath, I should have actually etched the whole entire nail. For me, these just haven't got the correct structure. They don't look as good either, and I don't feel that they've got the same strength. This is like cool for a night out or just like for a few days. Personally, I would not wear them over a longer period of time. So I'm just going to flash cure the thumb as well. Now, when that's in place, I'm going to put them all in the lamp. I'm going to give them full cure. And then I'm going to go in with a little bit of builder gel underneath. That's also going to kind of even out all those lumps and bumps. And I will also finish off with a thin coat of Topcoat underneath. If you're wondering why I'm not putting any strength in them by putting it on top instead and building an apex, that won't help. That might make them look a bit more realistic. But the problem is they are glued on with a really, really small amount of gel because they're really flat. That wouldn't help them hold any better anyway. If you want to do nails this way, I would invest in the proper tips that are meant to stay on for a while. Now, when they're all done, I am just going to grab my hand file first and refine the shape. Then I'm going to use a tapered fine drill bit. All I'm going to do is come along the cuticles. If you're going to use tips like this, I would definitely recommend that you blend them in at the cuticle. That makes them look a lot nicer. You don't want that kind of ledge, especially not on these plastic ones. I think one of my main selling points for the full cover tips as well is that they come out uniform and that you don't have any filing. I am going to matte the surface though by using a sanding band. First thing you do when you're done filing is to get rid of all the dust before you go in with any gel product. Again, I am using this fantastic fall colour or autumn colour from Beetles. And it's a really vibrant, pretty orange. I will be doing 2 coats of this as well, curing them in between. But this has got really, really good coverage, so I only need a really thin coat. I'm just going to start at the tip, pull it down. I don't want to, as I said, any thick, bumpy applications. I kind of push it up towards the cuticle and come down the sides. And of course then we have the so-called window that did not turn out very well at all. So I'm just going to have to try and make the best of it. I think I'll do a frame around it. Let's see if we can get some of that black to pop a little bit. And as you can see, the black is not on the nail plate, so everything's cured properly through. And I was going to use some liners out of convenience. And of course, despite having it planned out in my head before I started, I did end up making some changes along the way. Sometimes it's easier to see when you start working, especially if something's not working out. I'm just going to solder on and I'm going to put the details in where they were intended. By the way, I do cure and flash cure them in between. And also, don't do these too thick. These are Savile liners and they are very, very pigmented. You don't want them wrinkling. This wasn't the plan, but I did end up using a lot more black details than I intended to. But I feel that that's what really made them work out. So I'm just going to finish off my detailing work and make sure everything is thoroughly cured. And then I'm going to go in with a top coat on all of the nails before we do anything else. Now you only want a thin coat of this. Make sure that you use enough so it doesn't go streaky, and remember to cap the edges. This is what they look like without any gems on them. I mean, they're all right, but they do need to be jazzed up a little bit. I'm not going to put gems on all the nails. I'm using the Beetles nail glue again today. And I'm just putting on a small amount with a detail brush. And I'm going to just place the gems in there. Just make sure that you don't get any of the gem glue on the gems, because otherwise they will mat. And this is why I prefer to do it after the top coat's on. And what you can do, if you've got larger gems, you can either use them in either builder gel or acrylic or polygel. This is for show, so I've just done them with the nail glue. I've just put a little bit extra on underneath. And when you put a gem on, flash cure it so it doesn't move. So I'm just going to put the rest of the gems on the other nails real quick. And when I'm done with that, we're going to take a look at the final result. Now, they weren't exactly what I was planning, but I will admit I am pleased with them. I think they're cool in their own special way. At least they're different. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Please like, subscribe and hit that bell. And until next time, bye!